Hi guys, back again with episode 3 of Mamemeister's High Score Kerfuffle Season 3, and hopefully people are comfortable now with the format. Last week's game was Shinobi from Sega, released in 1987. This was a choice for me, as it's something I'd wanted to play but never had before, and it was also chosen by Paulie Moz, who likes these 2D action games, as demonstrated by his performance on Kung Fu Master last season. Firstly, this game looks great and plays very nicely, as you'd expect from Sega in the late 80s. The downside of this game, however, is that it's extremely difficult. I'd highly recommend taking a look at Colin's livestream, and if you don't have the time, I chopped it into an amusing 90 seconds of him struggling with the first boss. This game is 100% a memory game. The levels and enemy placement are identical with each play, which means that once you have worked out the right tactics for each section, it comes down solely to execution. Not that that makes the game easy, mind you. Perfect execution I wouldn't put as one of my strengths, and learning the game isn't the most fun exercise, so I didn't dislike the game, but I didn't hugely enjoy it. I much prefer games where you have to react quickly to the emerging situation, which is exemplified with my Pengo and Columns performances. Shinobi is a classic though, and I'm glad it's come up for the challenge. I managed to beat the second boss, which I was happy with, and Mission 3 seems very tough, but a few people were able to get beyond it. With week 2 done, let's take a look at the scores. This week we've had 16 submissions, and the competition amongst the core players has been good. We have also had a lot of people putting their efforts on YouTube or Twitch. Moxie, Colin, Mark, Big Juffer and Wee Bob have all uploaded their efforts onto YouTube, and Ian can sometimes be found playing the game on Twitch. In 10th, we've got last week's second place finisher, Ian. Panther UK is in 9th, which is first finished outside the top 6 since Season 1. He has had some hardware issues though. Morat Morrison has his first points in 8th, and I'm in 7th. Mark, Big Juffer and Wee Bob make up the next 3 places, all finishing fairly close on points. And then our top 3 is made up of Paulie Moz, who had chosen the game and has done well here. In 2nd is last week's winner Andrew Lowe, but with an excellent performance and ending up way out in front is 10 Shearers. A very well done to him, and as before, I'll double the chance of one of his games coming up. Regarding the distribution of scores, I've once again generated a histogram with scores increasing left to right. We see on the left a stack of 4 people all in the same bin. This corresponds to beating the first boss but not getting much further, similar to the situation we had last week. Our top 10 are close to being normally distributed, which is nice, but right at the tail of the distribution, way out in front, is this week's winner, 10 Shearers. Just like last week with Andrew, here's another great performance, clearly separating himself from the pack. Now that we have a second game on the board, let's take a look at the overall table. Robert Morrison, with his first point score, moves into 10th, ahead of Mr. Cosine. Panther UK is down 3 places in 9th, swapping places with Paulie Moz, who's overtaken Mark and me. Ian is also down 3 after failing to match his stellar performance in Aliens in week 1. Big Juffer is up 1, and then our top 3 is made up of Wee Bob in 3rd with 2 good performances, 10 Shearers, who's up to 2nd with that win this week, but continuing to lead the field and occupying his usual spot is Andrew Lowe. Let's see if anyone else can challenge Andrew like 10 Shearers has with this week's game. So I've got all the games loaded into the random selector again, with 10 Shearers games appearing twice. We've had 2 action games so far this season, so let's see if we get something a little different. Let me set the selector going. There we go. Now press again to see what we get. Okay, so we've got Asteroids Deluxe from Yoda Gamer Steve. So I guess the Asteroids Deluxe is probably the sequel to Asteroids, the classic vector game. So let me go and make a video and we'll see what it's like. So this week's game is Asteroids Deluxe, released by Atari in 1981, and as I suspected, was the sequel to the original Asteroids. I played the original on original hardware not that long ago at the Four Quarters bar in Peckham. The Vector monitor looks great in a darkened arcade, and it looks like Asteroids Deluxe stuck with the Vector display but updated the game mechanic. This was to reduce some of the score padding exploits that were possible in the original game. There is no longer a hyperspace button, but a shield instead, and there is also the introduction of the killer satellite enemy that breaks up when shot, and then the pieces home in on you. Asteroids is a stone cold classic, with the simple controls of rotate left and right, thrust, and shoot. Now with the shield added to the original, I expect this will go down well with pretty much everyone, but like Berserk we had in Season 1, once you're somewhat on top of the game, pushing it for a high score can become somewhat frustrating. Even so, I'm looking forward to spending some time with this, and I hope you do too. I expect another competitive week, and I'll be back next Tuesday with the results and the next game. See you then.